Okay, that was The Hyenas and a song from one of their earlier albums called Sister. So now I would like to welcome Aaron. Welcome to the studio.
Hello, Stain. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Yeah, a bit later than expected, but right on time anyway. Yeah, so tell us a bit about yourself. You are here as a member of Leonardo LGBT International. Can you tell us a bit more about the organization?
Well, of course. Well, first of all, I'd like to apologize for being late and for past this tendency to swallow you whole, and I was lost in the process. Well, so Leonardo LGBT International is a small group of volunteers based in Leuven, and our goal is to create a safe space where queer foreigners who are in Belgium can express themselves and basically find a community. Leonardo is under the Holibiehuis, which I think is the umbrella organization in the Vlaams Brabant region. I'm not sure. Which is in itself under Savaria, which is for the whole of Flanders. So far, I think we have the distinction of being the only group that caters to the foreign population in Flanders.
Yeah.
So.
And is there a large foreign population of LGBTI and queer people?
Well, I would assume yes. Pretty scattered all around Belgium. I mean, Belgium is a destination for a lot of queer travelers. But in Leuven, well, the thing is Leuven is a student city, so not many, but those who do come find a good space, a good network with us.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yes, we were a small group of, I think, 6 or 7 core volunteers, not counting the people who actually attend our events.
Okay. And I saw you also have like a big presence on Facebook and social media and everywhere, right?
We try, yes.
Yeah. So like the most of your members are also studying, or?
Well, right now it's a mix. We do have a lot of students from KU Leuven. We have our network's friends from Liège, for example, and some from Ghent. A lot of us are also working professionals. So it's a mixed group, I would say.
Okay, yeah. So I can imagine, yeah, when you're foreign over here, you come, it's hard to find your way around the whole Belgian LGBTI scene. So is that also like a mission? Do you work together also with Belgian organizations here and try to get a bit more of a mixed presence there, or?
Oh yes. One of the things that we hear from a lot of the foreign students, the foreign queer students that come, is that it's hard for them to connect with local queer populations. That's something we try to fix with Leonardo. We work a lot with ENOF, which is a group for local Flemish members who are less than 30. Groups like the Dekant, the Transgender Kring. I'm sorry, my Dutch is not so good.
Oh no, it sounds great.
We are based in a small cafe called Rocco. It's near the train station in Leuven, and all of the queer groups congregate in that place. It's our space, and in the process, we organize events together. We talk with each other, form bonds and friendships, and it's a good way of getting to know the local scene.
Yeah. Okay. You brought us some songs, so I suggest we go over to the first one, and I think that's Je partirai.
Je partirai.
From Anggun. Why this song, Adam?
Well, the song was written by the singer Anggun as a way of describing her process of traveling from Indonesia to France and traveling the world. Well, I'm not Indonesian, I'm from the Philippines, but the sentiment is there. Whenever I get on a plane and move to a new country, I put the song on to remind myself that this journey, every leg of it, is impermanent. And one day, il y aura toujours un jour que je partirai. I will always be on the go.
Okay.
So, it's my little travel anthem. It's very personal for me. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's a great song.
Thank you.
So, how much has that happened already? Like you say, every time I step on a plane to move, I put it on, but...
Well, I've lived in several countries. 8 years ago, I lived for 2 years in Taiwan. And I'm now doing my master's, which is an international master's in anthropology and migration studies. I lived in France, in Ireland, not to mention many different side trips that I've done in between, and now I'm in Belgium.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And every time you're there for like a longer time, like how long have you been in Belgium now?
In Belgium, I think a total of 1 year almost.
Okay. Yeah.
I never really travel for quick vacations. I prefer to stay for a long time, 2 weeks at least, in a country, but longer if I could.
Okay. Yeah. So here in Belgium, I think, well, you mentioned you were also doing a thesis on the experience of Chinese migrants in Belgium, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Specifically the role of Chinese migrants in helping the Chinese embassy spread diplomacy and culture in the local scene.
Okay.
So,
yeah. So I guess the migration team is like, I don't know, your professional, personal life. Right?
Exactly. It runs through me. My grandparents were themselves children of Chinese migrants.
Okay.
So this question is also very personal for me. So
Yeah.
it's I think it's a bit difficult mixing the personal and the professional. So, sometimes the connections are too blurry and muddled, and
Yeah.
well, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, like, I guess you can take a lot of your personal life and also put it, like, in your professional or research life, no?
Exactly.
Yeah. Great. So, basically, all the migrants of Leonardo, well, are also part of your personal life, I assume.
Of course. It's a very diverse group. Our coordinator, David, whose eyes are so beautiful he could drown in them. Thank you, David. You can reimburse my tickets now. No, he's from Spain, but his origins are Colombian.
Okay.
We have members from Italy, from Portugal, hi Mario, from Sweden, Canada, all over the world basically. And now we're surprisingly getting more and more Asian students.
Okay.
So
that's great.
It is.
Yeah. So I guess the main language is English, or?
It is English.
Okay.
Of course, being in Flanders, we don't really speak French, so English is our main language.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if people want to come to you, it's basically to Rocco in Leuven that they come? Or?
Yes, we are based in Café Rocco. We also have a Facebook page. Just search for Leonardo LGBT International, and you'll find it. Yes, and we have, can I plug an event?
Of course,
Yes.
yeah.
If you'd like to get to know more and you're free on Thursday, the 15th of June, Leonardo will have an open mic at 8 p.m. at Café Rocco in Leuven. It's going to be a night of poetry and music. We are working with a few classical musicians as well as the Leuven Writers Group. I am performing a poem for that night, and you're free to come, enjoy a few drinks, and get to know us. I think members of the other queer groups in Leuven, like Enough or Drikant, they might be there, so it's also a good way to meet the locals, if you will.
Okay, yeah. And what about locals who want to come to the international event? Is that possible too?
Oh, of course it's possible. We are open to everyone. In fact, we would encourage locals to come and join, because it could also help them expand their network.
Yeah.
So it's open to everyone.
Yeah. I mean, it must be it's a very rich group of people with, I guess, a very rich and diverse range of experiences. Is that something that you talk about a lot, like about different countries, legislation, like situation for LGBTI people? Is that a topic you go into often?
Yes. Basically, discussions in the group range from diversity and sexuality. We have members who are bisexual. We have a new member who's transgender or gender fluid. And then the other theme of our discussions is the rights of gay people around the world. And our activities are based on that. A few months ago, we had a film screening about transgender individuals, a transgender boxer in Thailand, We attend conferences. I think that's where we met, about queer rights around the world. It is a very important part of our group. We think that, here in Belgium, of course, you have it good. The law is very clear about the protections that queer people have. Other parts of the world are not so lucky. So if we are able to increase awareness about that, and our members are able to go back home to their countries and to spread what they knew and what they learned, that would be one of our missions.
Yeah. So is that for you, that connection with the Philippines? Is it also there? Is like, I don't know, do you also have a connection to the LGBTI scene there? Or?
That is a very complicated question. The Philippines is a bit of an, well, it's a contradiction. On one hand, we are very open to transgender individuals. We have a transgender member of Congress. Openly transgender individuals can own companies and are rather respected. But at the same time, it's also very conservative. So one reason why I loved working with Leonardo is because it gave me a voice. Back at home, it doesn't help that my father works for government. Being a queer individual limits your opportunities, and it limits the respect that people give you.
Yeah.
So if I am able to have or find my voice here in Belgium and go back and use that, I would be very happy.
Yeah.
And I hope other members, present or potential members, would have the same, the same experience.
Yeah. There's recently actually a documentary also that I saw, Outrun, it's called. I think it's about a member in Congress who is transgender and a rise to power, basically. So, yeah, maybe something for next Leonardo event or something.
Oh, we would love that.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for the suggestion.
Great. Let's go to your second song. I don't know the... Dido. It's the Dido song.
White Flag by Dido.
With White Flag. Also a personal song?
Yes, it is also a very personal song for me. I find that this is a platform for me to get things out. So thank you, Stains.
We're doing psychology, radio, everything together.
Yes, but this song, if I may explain, was actually my, it's a breakup song that I had for my ex, Damiano, who I hope is listening to us now. I met him in Ireland a year ago, and it was an intense relationship. Didn't work out in the end. 2 different people, 2 different places, and in the end, that's one thing you realize about traveling. You never know who you're going to meet, and you never know what you're going to have with them.
No.
So it's
true.
Yeah.
And long distance is a hard thing to do.
It is a very hard thing to do.
Is that something a common topic in Leonardo?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
If I may use the example of 2 of our friends, they were members last year. One of them, Diana, is back in Italy, and her on-again, off-again girlfriend, Bara, is in Prague.
Okay.
And just imagine being in Europe. It seems like a long-distance relationship, but for someone from America, for example, or for someone in Asia, the distance is even harder.
Yeah.
So it is a very common topic of conversation for us. How to maintain a long-distance relationship, especially in the context of being queer.
Yeah, we were talking a bit during the song about how the queer normative now says that like relationships have to be open and like, I don't know, monogamous is heteronormative and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. There are people who think differently. Like I'm in a monogamous relationship, but I do feel like a minority by this point. Like even my very mainstream gay friends, they all have like open relationships. So it's a bit of a popular thing right now. But,
well, just like you, Stain, I am also a serial monogamist. So we can say that we are treasures. We are one of a kind. Yeah. We're a rare breed.
Unicorns.
We are unicorns.
Yes.
One of my friends, Pietro, who's getting married, ironically, tomorrow.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congrats. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov describes it as having boxes. You know, having a partner is having a person who fills in most of your boxes, but then some boxes are left unfilled that you can find in other people. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think relationships are a kind of osmosis where you fuse together, both, you know, physically and spiritually. But I don't judge people in open relationships.
Yeah.
It's their prerogative. In fact, one of the members of Leonardo is in a polyamorous relationship.
Oh, great.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they have two wonderful, wonderful children, and it's, for me, a sign that any kind of structure you have will work if you do it with trust and respect and full consciousness of your decisions.
Yeah.
So, hello Tova, hello Aaron, talking about you. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's all about like open communication, and
Exactly.
like I say, there's no judgment there.
Exactly.
Yeah. On the other hand, well, I had like a long distance relationship for a while too, but that was after 2 years, I think, in the relationship, or even a bit longer. So I guess, like, I don't know, at that point, it makes it maybe a bit more worthwhile. Well, not necessarily worthwhile, but easier to really go the extra mile. And
Right.
Whereas if you're in the beginning of a relationship, there's
Right.
always that kind of like, okay, what will happen? And then,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
But it's, yeah.
there are a lot of tools right now. But I remember, I also had a long distance relationship that actually started as a long distance relationship. And I thought it, like the strange thing was like then suddenly you were together, you know, and then suddenly it was like these 2 weeks, and suddenly you were like living together because you went to like I went to his place or he came to mine or something. So it was like these bursts of like really intense kind of like living together, which you would normally not do like at the beginning of a relationship, and then I don't know, these kind of long months of absence, which was
Right.
kind of like the normal or something. Yeah.
I kind of had the same experience a few months ago when my ex visited me in Leuven, of all places, and it was a surprise visit. And I thought it was the most romantic thing anyone has ever done for me. But of course, in the end, we decided to go our own ways and
Yeah.
grow as individuals. But the lessons and the memories that we learned are still there. We are still in contact, and I assume that we are still good.
Yeah.
So it's a learning process.
Great.
One thing that I always say is people are always in a state of flux. They're always in a state of reconstruction. But before you can build, you have to destroy. So whenever something in us dies, be it a relationship, our self-image, or whatever, that would be the time that you can finally build something on top of that, move on, and create something better and bigger.
Okay.
So-
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, talking about that, like, I want to go back a bit to Leonardo
Sure.
as well, and also about you, about your research with migrants. I was just wondering if like you also have like a lot of, well, I don't know, people that are children of migrants or migrants themselves that are Belgian, but that I don't know come to your organization as a way of finding community.
Oh yes, we have we have a new member. Well, he's from the same province that my grandparents are in China. He's
Okay.
from Fujian, and he's not yet out to his family because, of course, Asian societies tend to be very conservative. But then I can see how it really is helpful to him to have a community of foreigners seeing other people being open with themselves. And, you know, he's enjoying his time because it's giving him a lot of freedom. Recently, I think he just obtained his Dutch passport. So congratulations. I'm not going to mention him because, you know.
Yeah.
But people like that, or we have another Vietnamese member who came to Belgium to study Dutch, and you know, being an obvious foreigner, it always helps to be around other people who share the same experiences and who can compare, notes and ways to cope, ways to deal with just the struggle of being different.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we have members like that, new and old, who can share.
Yeah. Is that something that like the more local organizations can still work on?
Oh my, this is a very tricky question. I don't want to step on toes right here, but
I'm just asking for some more ideas. It's always good to have like a bit of a
well,
brainstorm.
I'll answer this the very Asian way, which is not directly. It's up to you to conclude. The local organizations, at least the individual members who we've gotten to know, are all very friendly and welcoming. If you take the time to talk to them, they invite you to their events, they share things about their lives, and you form connections and bonds. But in terms of the institutional aspect of it, for example, organizing parties, organizing seminars, of course we can't expect everyone to do things in English or French in Flanders. Dutch is the language here.
Yeah.
So it is a bit difficult to get into the more organizational side of these groups. You could, if you were fluent in Dutch, and attend, their cafes or their parties or whatever. But yeah, it is a bit difficult.
Okay.
Yeah. Most literature, most information is in Dutch, and for foreigners, it's just not our language.
Okay.
So that's what we do in Leonardo. We try to bridge the two communities together.
Yeah. Great. Well, I think that's a good point that can be worked on anyway. So let's go over to Nelly Furtado, your next song.
Yes.
What you know about me? What you know about me? What you know about me? What you know?
Ik zei, hoe is jouw naam? Ik heb het lied verstaan, ik vraag, hoe is jouw naam?
How do you say delicious? How do you say lovely? How do you say delectable? Divine? How do you say groovy?
Welcome back to Queer Delight, our program on LGBTQI+ in Antwerp, Belgium, and far outside of the Belgian borders. We're still in the studio with Aaron. We just listened to one of his requests, Nelly Furtado, with All Good Things Come to an End. I'm guessing that also has to do with your traveling experiences.
Well, yes, of course. Staying in a country, falling in love with it, and then having to leave is always a process of, of essentially killing something that's good. Well, I come from the anthropology department in KU Leuven, and there was an author, Florian Sniadecki, who studied Polish migrants in the 1900s. And he says that the process of migration is a process of destruction and reconstruction. So whenever someone travels, something inside him dies, and something inside him gets lost. And when he gets to his new place, he has to reconstruct and rebuild and find that thing again. That might not be the same as when he was in his place of origin. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can see, I totally agree with that, but also with that comes like you have to spend a lot of energy every time you move, no?
Yes.
I can imagine like, okay, like you said, you've been in so many different places,
Right.
like, I don't know, is there sometimes something like, oh no, I don't want to go?
It is mentally exhausting, emotionally exhausting, making friends and then leaving them. But that leads me to another thing, and this is something we were talking about during the song, is that a lot of the members, well, most of the members of Leonardo are essentially expats. People who have the financial means, who come from more or less a place of privilege, who can travel and are mobile as they wish. And yet there's another side of migration that we all know about, and this is about people who are in difficulty. Refugees, asylum seekers, who travel not because they want to, but because they have to for survival.
Yeah.
One of the things that Leonardo aims to do in the future is work more with this side of migration. We are a very small group, and we are very young. I think the organization is 4 or 5 years old, I think.
Yeah.
But we really hope to work on more projects through which we can help asylum seekers, migrants, who are fleeing not just because of war or famine, but also because of persecution, because of their identities. I think the Flemish government has started a project called Safe Haven.
Yes.
Was it?
Safe havens.
Yeah. And, well, can you...
Well,
talk about
it's
it, or,
I don't know that much
okay.
about it. We actually are still planning to have an episode
Right.
with some of the people who are responsible for it. But it's basically it's Savaria that's the main organization taking the initiative, I think. And well, as I know, I was involved in a bit of the beginning stages, which was like last year. But I mean, we had some asylum seekers over here who obtained their papers because of their persecution related to their Soji identities. And yeah, you can see there's still quite a lot of work. I mean, they were actually quite lucky. They were because basically when you come here, you seek for asylum, you get into like an institution. Wouldn't say locked up, but I guess it's kind of close to that, where you live basically, but where you also don't really have that much contact with the outside. So they actively went to look for Belgian LGBTI plus organizations, and they were lucky to have a person in the center with them who actually introduced them. But I think in that way, yeah, it's important to have a bit more of a voice to get in contact with people who are already in Belgium but cut off from that kind of reality and community. And I like you say, I think Leonardo would probably be like a very good asset, because I can imagine maybe some of the people there, they are maybe from the same countries, or they can relate more, or I mean, which doesn't necessarily, of course, Belgian people can help too, but I think that might ease sometimes some kind of transition or something like that.
Well, this is the reason why Leonardo is trying its best to recruit new members and new volunteers who are experts in different fields. Most of us are in the cultural studies, social sciences fields, and that's fine, but we need more volunteers who are more into social work, or who are into political science, economy, who can actually help us with the more organizational details of helping out. We used to have a member, Jo Fobelets, who is now a member of the Green Party, and he was very helpful in organizing with the local city government and with Savaria. But I think, we really do need more members who can actually help us with the groundwork, if you will.
Yeah.
The best we have done so far, considering our limited resources and our limited numbers, was, I remember last year Mr. Gay Belgium's winner was a first generation, I think he was Moroccan, and we helped him do an interview in Leuven, for example. This year we attended the conference about LGBT rights in Brussels.
Yeah.
So right now, our action is based more on information and awareness.
Yeah.
We would like to see the group grow one day and perhaps actually do some groundwork, helping these migrants, these asylum seekers, and making a difference.
Yeah.
So, if there's anyone who's interested and who can lend their expertise, Leonardo LGBT is always open and is welcome to your help.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's go over to our next song, which is Avril Lavigne.
Yes.
With I'm With You.
Yes.
You had a revelation. All of your songs are sad.
All of my songs are sad, but I'm not a sad person. I'm very well adjusted, I have to say. Now, this song is actually for a friend of mine, Michael van Rosenbroek. He is the paladin to my necromancer. Nothing romantic. We just, we're gamers together.
Okay.
And we both happen to like Avril Lavigne. So
Okay.
yeah.
You're paladin to my necro.
Yeah.
I won't go into that.
No. It's innocent.
Yeah,
Wink, wink.
great. So yeah, we were talking a bit about the theme of getting a broader range of people involved
Yes.
in Leonardo, and also people who come here, basically because they have to, and they have to flee their country. So yeah, I can imagine still, like, I don't know, even for people who are just here for their work, it might not be that easy for them to be out publicly coming from
Right.
another country. So I don't know if you do events, are there specific measures that you try to take, or I don't know.
Well, our Facebook page is public, so people who do not want to be contacted on Facebook can sign up for our newsletter, which is it's a private mailing list. In terms of keeping privacy, of course we respect everyone who doesn't want their pictures taken, who doesn't want to be tagged.
Yeah.
We are very discreet about these things. We don't
Yeah.
give out names. We are very conscious about the value of privacy. So.
Yeah. I think it's also an important discussion, because I think, I don't know, sometimes in Belgium there has been like this kind of call of like, okay, if you're not out, okay, you're not like an activist, or
Right.
blah blah blah. Everybody should come out, but yeah, I think in a lot of different cultures
Right.
that's not necessarily how it is, right?
Exactly. One thing that I have to say, though, as a person of color, is that, even amongst the queer communities, there is always going to be a form of discrimination. I've seen it, several times. People who have Grindr or Planet Romeo would know about this, sexual racism in terms of preferences. But sexual preference is one thing. But if you, as a queer person, judge people of color based on their background, I think that is a really sad irony. I have come across a lot of local queer men, white men, who would say things like, oh, I find brown people disgusting, or, oh, if I go to your country, I'll probably get whipped.
Okay.
It's very offensive, and it betrays a kind of, well, it is racism.
Yeah.
So I think as queer people, we need to be kinder to each other. As people who know discrimination, we should know what it's like to be on that receiving end.
Yeah.
So, for the queer white males especially, I would suggest, please be conscious of your words, be conscious of your privilege, and know that not everyone is under you.
Yeah.
So, a bit of a strong message right there, but it has to be said.
Yeah, no, I think it's a very right message. Of course, like you say, on this social media, it's really a trend, like already going on for like I don't know, a couple of years now. So yeah, and it's just not necessary. I don't know. Do you notice that here when you go out as well? Or?
Oh, yes, of course. Stereotypes still exist. People from Latin countries tend to be thought of as sexually promiscuous, even for hire. As an Asian, people tend to ask, are you a bottom? Are you submissive? It takes away from our humanity.
Yeah.
When our sexual lives are put into boxes.
Yeah.
Stereotypes exist for a reason, that's true, but at the same time, you have to look at an individual as a human being and as a person who has the agency and the independence to act according to what he wants.
Yeah.
So please, queer people, white queer people, do not put us in boxes. We do not deserve to be put, into stereotypes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, or just come to a Leonardo meeting, and then
Yes.
you'll actually see, like, I don't know, what people are like. And
Exactly.
You won't have to go on their skin color or nationality anymore, but just basically see them as friends. Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's something, that's still can be done in a lot of ways, not only by Leonardo, but also by other organizations. And yeah, I mean, also I'm just thinking aloud, but by having more stories of like outside of Belgium come to like the main Belgian public.
Right.
So. Yeah, great. So I want to thank you very much for coming to Antwerp today.
Thank you. Can I just say like a last greeting to a
Of
friend of
course,
mine who's
of
having
course.
his birthday today? Happy birthday, Yannick van Goudenberg. I don't know if I said your name correctly, but you know who you are.
Great. And just one more time, like your plugin was, there is an open mic.
An open mic on the 15th of June at 8 o'clock in the evening at Café Rocco in Leuven. For more details, please look at our Facebook page, Leonardo LGBT International. The address will be there.
Great. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. Queer Delights every second and fourth Friday of the month from 12:30 to 2 on Radio Centraal 106.7 FM or streaming via the website. Bye.
Bye.